Senator Milne?
Well, it's very convenient that Senator Wallace has sort of broached the subject that I wanted to ask about, because we've heard from the minister that this bill is targeted at the big guys, trying to put organized crime and the importers and the producers in jail. We've also heard that, in actual fact, the police are now catching and putting in jail at the rate of, I think, about 70% of the people in jail right now for drug crimes are the lower level, are the guys that are out on the street corner selling a few joints of marijuana or whatever. 70%. So, and we heard from the police here themselves saying that they do not see that this bill will change anything at all in the way that they operate. So how on earth is this bill going to help us get at organized crime?
Well, firstly, I would say that, certainly with people who get federal sentences, it's not true. We're always saying, people are in jail for drugs. That's just not true. People are in jail for other crimes, and predominantly violent crimes if they're in the federal system, but they're not. But they are. It's true in the sense that most of them are drug users. But the people who are, leading the path on the organized crime front, of course, are, for a variety of reasons, find ways to be immune from prosecution. So it's not likely that this or anything else, short of something very drastic, is going to affect that. But I'm reminded that we've drawn more people into the drug business, into the trafficking business. We've got people in trafficking cocaine who are never in the business. Most of the gangs are in BC they're basically have been. It's less than a decade, 4, 5, 6 years, and so I think there needs to be something there that tells these people that there will be a consequence to involvement. And one of the things that we know is absolutely true on lesser things, never mind going to prison, that the organized crime people and people involved in the drug business will change their method of doing business to avoid detection and avoid consequences. No question about that.
So this bill is useless?
No, I'm thinking I think it's helpful in part. I'm saying it's helpful in part. I think it is. I guess the single biggest plus of the bill, and I'm reminded that it still doesn't take away from the courts having the opportunity to move up to what the maximums provide. I mean, that of course never happens. But I'm thinking a very important component of this is the notion of mandatory penalties for certain cases. It is denunciation. It is doing more than what we've been able to do thus far in trying to provide any kind of effective sentence. I mean, is 6 months or a year an effective sentence? I don't think so. It certainly can't capture what was normally required in terms of trying to rehabilitate somebody. Given, again, I'm reminded, the average person involved historically on the production side alone, and I also know for traffickers it's a similar kind of thing, we're talking people who have 13-year criminal histories, 7 priors. It isn't the person who's, generally, it's a first-timer. That's just not true. Our jails are not filled with people who've never been in trouble before, and our jails are not filled with people who are in there for drug offenses. You look at their histories. You look at histories of property offenders in Canada. They have also histories of violence. So I think
so you're saying, though, that this law, the present laws we have do not work. We heard quite convincing evidence last night, from witnesses who said that we're kidding ourselves if we think that this law is going to work, because criminals don't read the law and they don't listen to parliamentary debates.
No, I would say that's true.
They're quite convinced that they're not ever going to get caught.
Yeah.
So why are we wasting our time talking about it?
And again, I would say I'm coming from saying that it needs to be more. It needs to be more than it is. And I'm reminded that the link in the bill between the involvement in organized crime. If I recall correctly, it's a minimum of 2 years, right? So that puts somebody into federal time. I think that's, being out of business for a couple years is certainly better than what they're getting now.
Thank you, Senator. Okay, I will subside.
I think the position on both sides of this particular discussion are now clear.